What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the nerdy realm within the multiverse. It's that time again as a new Marvel movie just came to theaters, and we have got to give our thoughts on it, as we recently just got out of the theater from seeing it for the first time. So let's get into our raw reaction and thoughts to the movie Thor Love and Thunder. In this video, we will be solely touching on and giving our thoughts on the movie without any spoilers, as we want to give as many of you as possible the chance to see the movie before we drop a spoiler-related video, and so that you can hear our thoughts on it before you see it yourself. As for what we thought of the new Thor film, well, let's get right into that now. Thor Love and Thunder is exactly what you would expect from a Taika Waititi film, and it definitely felt like Waititi to the core. It had a ton of comedy and it was extremely hilarious, and sometimes the MCU or Marvel go a bit too far or extreme with the constant jokes, but somehow Taika does a great job with it and doesn't make it unbearable. Even with there being a lot of comedy and jokes in this movie, it still brought in a lot of deep, emotional, and serious topics and scenes that gave us more understanding and feeling behind the characters in the movie. The chemistry and relationships between all of the different characters was done well, and they did a great job storytelling and explaining things between these characters and their past. Jane Foster and Thor together were a great duo, and the story between those two was really fun and entertaining. The visuals in this movie were absolutely awesome, and parts of the movie were just beautiful. The contrast with the black and white scenes and everything else was really cool, and they did a phenomenal job playing that all into the story of the movie as well. The action in this movie and the choreography that went with it was awesome, and every single fight scene that we got in this was great. Seeing Gorr with his sword, and then both Jane with Mjolnir and Thor with Stormbreaker, and all of the clashing between them all was wonderful, and you could say that the fights actually felt threatening in a way where you didn't know if someone was good enough to take Gorr on or not. Every single actor that was a part of this project did a phenomenal job at playing their character, even the ones that were only on screen for a few minutes. The entire cast was filled with extremely well-known and also very talented actors, so that's not very surprising. However, if there was one that stole the show when they were on screen, it was easily Christian Bale as Gorr the God Butcher. Bale did such a phenomenal job as Gorr. Every scene he was in, you could just feel how crazy his character was, and he was so creepy. He felt scary, and you could say it was uncomfortable to see him on screen just for how creepy he was. Right from the start of the movie, you can already feel his motives forming and feel how good of a villain he is and how well his character was delivered to us by Bale. Gorr has jumped up so far up the ranks and is easily now one of the best MCU villains that we have gotten so far. Sometimes in the MCU and even some of the recent projects have had some noticeably weird looking CGI or visual effects, even though I hardly point them out nor care for them, as that's not why we are watching the movie after all. However, I will say though that the CGI and visual effects and the cinematography as a whole, like I said before, were done in a great job, and I never even noticed any sort of botchy CGI or anything like that. The story in this movie actually felt like there was a looming and growing threat that could actually take a toll on the whole universe and the characters within it, giving us a very memorable villain and the conflict our heroes had with him. And speaking of the universe as a whole, this movie also did a lot of world building and introduced some pretty cool things and characters into the universe, and we can sort of get an idea of where the hierarchy of power is going and expanding to, which we can touch more on in the spoiler review. There were 2 post-credit scenes in this movie, so make sure you stay in the theater to see those before leaving, both of which leave you excited for what's to come in the future of the MCU and Thor's stories within it, which I cannot wait to talk about those 2 scenes in the spoiler review. Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder both being made by Waititi, and him continuing to fix the Thor movies after what happened with Dark World has been great. However, to compare both Ragnarok and Love and Thunder is a bit hard for me, as they were both great and both had memorable villains. However, I think that Love and Thunder slightly takes the cake over Ragnarok as of right now. I will have to rewatch both of those to actually give a final opinion on which one is better. I'm so glad that Marvel decided to give Taika the opportunity to take over the Thor movies, because he really turned the MCU's version of the character around for the better. I think the only thing that I wish that the movie gave us more of was Gorr. That's really my only wish about the movie, was that we got some more screen time with him him because he was easily a top tier villain, and it would have made the movie even better if we just got even a little bit more screen time with him. I never really give numerical scores for stuff, but if I had to rate this movie at this point in time after my first watch, I think I would give it a solid 8 or 8.5 out of 10, but I feel if I watch it more, the score or rating could increase, but also it could end up decreasing. Overall though, Love and Thunder was a pretty good movie that brought a great story with all different types of emotions and feelings inside of it. It might have had some minor flaws, but that's really it. Nothing major in my opinion, and nothing that distracted me from enjoying the movie. As some of you may know, I didn't really enjoy Multiverse of Madness, so I think that I can say that this is my new favorite MCU movie out of the few that we have gotten this year. I highly recommend going to see it, especially if you liked Thor Ragnarok. You will 100% love this one if you liked Ragnarok. This movie was a lot of fun and brought a lot to the MCU, and I cannot wait to see where it continues to go. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I definitely think that you should go get your tickets to a showing so that you can see Thor go on his newest adventure in Love and Thunder. If you are planning on going to see the movie sometime soon, make sure to stay tuned to the channel and watch out for our spoiler review on the movie so we can dive deeper into our thoughts on it and talk a bit more about everything that was in the movie. With all of that being said though, that about does it for our quick spoiler-free thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder. Remember that if you are feeling extra nerdy today, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on to help support the channel and to get more nerdy content from us. If you wish to support us even further, feel free to check out the links in the description. And as I always say, thank you all for watching. We will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.